Do you need to work on your time management skills? Well, I think we all want to do that, of course. And those of us with ADHD think that maybe we have more of a challenge in that area than others. But again, all successful people become successful in pretty much the same ways. And so I think that it could be rather basic and even boring to talk about this triad of to do, schedule, do. Making your to-do list and then prioritizing it, putting those things on the schedule, and then doing what's on your schedule. That's the beginnings of time management. On the other hand, a lot of people know that, still feel like they just can't get a grip on their time management. Well, one of the tricks is not to put too much on your schedule. Um, I talk about how we live in a society of anxiety in which we have high expectations of ourselves and we have high expectations of other people, and other people have high expectations of us. And so we Americans just have a tendency to have too much going on because we have these high expectations that we need to be able to do everything. And in fact, that's a problem. It creates anxiety, it creates excessive anxiety. And so when you have too much on your mind, then how does that relate to time management? Well, it means that you don't have the time to do everything that you have set out to do, or you've got your life going, but then things happen. Extended family gets sick, or the things come up in life, and you don't have the extra time to fit in the extra things. So one of the problems again is that, and I know this happens to me when I become forgetful. And I mean, there was a week a few years back when I took the wrong exit off the interstate twice in one week, and I'm thinking, what's wrong with me? I called a friend of mine who's a therapist, and her first question was, "Well, don't you have a lot on your mind right now?" So I've learned when I get forgetful to think, you know, how much do am I trying to think about right now? Because that may explain why I can't think about everything, much less have time to think about everything. So there's another concept that I like when it comes to actually let's call it a tool that you use to evaluate yourself. That all important question: what's going on with me? And that's the concept of cognitive loops. So cognitive means thinking, and a cognitive loop is something that you're thinking about. And so a cognitive loop in your brain is something that's going around and around and around and around, and it's still there because it isn't getting resolved. And maybe it's competing with the next one and the next one, and maybe you got 15 of them going all at once, unresolved. So what you can actually do with that is sit down and list your cognitive loops, and then go back through the list and ask yourself, what can I do with that? Is that something I can resolve now? Is it something that I cannot resolve for the next 2 weeks, so I'm not going to think about it for 2 weeks? Is it something that I don't need to resolve? It's not that important. I need to put it off, put it out of my mind, get it off the list. Then, if there's still too many cognitive loops going, you got too much going on in your life. I could tell you a story about how I had, well, too much going on. I knew. I had, I was recently divorced with 3 children in private school, and I picked them up after school every day, and it was well, let's just say almost every day. I don't want to get into trouble there, but the point is, then I had a mini farm with a herd of alpacas and a barn full of Rocky Mountain horses, and then going to a new church, wanted to go on mission trips, couldn't get away. I mean, I had way too much going on. And I decided to, as I say, sell everything but the children, and back down to a lifestyle that was manageable. And so I moved into this smaller house, very modest place, family, church, work, life was simple again. Downsizing is a way to simplify your life, but also manage your time. So that may be a bit much for most of you, but if you compare that to what you've got going on right now, you've got all these things you're trying to do. And then you think that you need to work on your time management. Maybe no amount of time management will do what you want it to do, and maybe it's time to take a few things off your plate. So building time management skills, yeah, but sometimes it's not about building the skills as much as it is allowing the time to do what you really want to do, to do the things that actually make you happy. So I'll finish with this one question. Are you happy? If you can't say that you're happy now, are you planning to be? Is there a point in the future where you will be happy, or are you just not thinking about it? If you're not thinking about being happy, about your family being happy, and then what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, chances are you're caught up in so many things that you don't have time to think about it. So, food for thought.